Welcome back to Good Morning Wilmington. Our next guest threw me off.
That boy came back with authority.
Exactly, but
Welcome
that's
back.
the energy that we have right here. I mean, we are experiencing right now.
Wake your ass up.
Wake your ass up, Wilmington. I'm sorry, we just had to say it. You know, one thing about this show, there's so many things that go on behind the scenes because we bring in such good people, right? And we have another great person coming up right now.
Another superhero.
Mama Sita. Does anybody, you remember that song?
I remember that song.
That song was a
classic.
classic. There you go.
Yo,
you know singing in the background. Lisa. No, but even better, we have Miss Sita Lewis
in the building.
The CEO and owner of Miracle Buttercream. Welcome.
Hey, Wilmington's own.
There you go. Let's add that. That's huge.
So I'm like, I feel home right now.
Well, you home.
You should.
Thank
And
you
the
for
plaza
having me.
is always home to you, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you don't tell me that twice.
All right.
Okay?
Can someone get her a key,
tomorrow.
please?
Yeah.
Right. She gonna have a
Hello.
show and everything.
Because TV is my background. I'm gonna use this studio.
Oh, we know.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, honey.
Let's talk about that because I would
Yes.
love to hear. I would love to hear more about your background and how I brought you up to Miracle Butter.
Yeah.
All right.
So Miracle Buttercream is the name, but I grew up in Wilmington. I graduated from Friends, Wilmington Friends.
Okay.
Okay. And then went straight to Georgetown University.
Did you?
Yep. And I was there during some of the cool basketball.
AI.
AI was after me.
Okay.
I'm a little older than I
Okay.
look, thanks to that Miracle Buttercream.
There you go.
Okay?
Shameless plug.
Plug
Let's go.
it.
Shameless. And then I went straight into television.
Okay.
I started working at BET. I was there for 14 years, producing shows like Teen Summit, BET News, Heart and Soul. I became a correspondent on the shows.
Did you?
Yeah, and so I had a ball. It was like going to an all-black college working for BET.
Get out of here.
Fun. You know, that was the beginning stages of BET. So we
Right.
built BET.
Right.
Back when it was in D.C.
Back when it was in DC, absolutely. And then, you know, the world starts to change. You want to grow and move, and I started working for other networks. But I got my chops at BET, and then I don't know if you guys know Butch Lewis. He's from Delaware. He was the legendary boxing promoter.
That's right.
That's my dad.
Yeah, we know.
Right?
We know who he is.
And
yeah.
so I grew up in an entrepreneurial household.
Okay.
That's all I saw.
Right.
I've never seen my dad with a job outside of working for my grandfather, John Lewis, or working for himself,
Right.
Butch Lewis. And so, you know, I always had that thing, you know, in me to want to have my own business, but that wasn't like my path. So
Okay.
I thought, and he passed away. He passed away in 2011, and he was like my everything, my advisor, my counselor, you know, and he knew it. I felt like he knew it all.
Right.
And
right.
so without him, I was dealing with a lot of stuff. I was dealing with, you know, settling his estate,
Yeah.
which took a lot longer than we expected.
Right.
And with that, I ended up having to focus on his estate and was out of work for 2 years.
Wow.
And when you're in the television industry and you get out for 2 years, you know,
You gone.
technology changes. You try to
Yeah.
come back and they looking at you crooked.
Well,
Like,
if you
what
want,
have
if you
you
want to
done
come
for me
here,
lately?
but if you want to come here, we build a whole network.
that's
So,
all you're good as is your last show.
Yeah,
okay?
I heard that. Yeah.
It's true. And I had to live that out. And so I was struggling. I almost lost my house.
Wow.
But wait a second.
mhm.
Wait a second. Because the average person is going to listen right now
Yeah.
and say, well, you just said that your father was the world famous boxing promoter, Butch Lewis,
Mhm.
right? But now you're talking about where you were in a position where you almost lost your house,
Right.
right? A lot of people are going to think that you were just
How is that
fed
possible?
this silver spoon. How is that possible?
Right.
So
right.
please explain it
So
to people.
we had, you know, not to go into too many details, but everybody has a cross to bear.
Yeah.
And I think for me, losing my dad and dealing with estate battles that I could never have prepared myself for.
Right. Right.
I didn't know what to expect. And literally so much had happened financially that it kind of like wiped out what I felt like was the legacy that my dad, he wanted to build generational wealth for the family. And what he really built was generational wisdom, knowledge, things that people cannot steal, take, or feel entitled to.
Right.
So we may have lost a lot financially, but the things that he put in me in that household,
Stays.
you know, it wasn't no silver spoon, okay? It was like, Negro, get to work, okay?
Yeah.
And those are the things when somebody starts to instill in you a work ethic that is unmatched, because he was the hardest boss I ever had. At one point, I did work for him, and I mean, he was a tough dude. And so none of these crazy TV bosses out here could really get under my skin, because once you work for Butch Lewis, that's it. Like he cursed me out just like he cursed the next person out. And you know, the boxing industry was like, it was rough, you know, and so he had to always keep up that rough demeanor, but he really was a teddy bear. You know, if I needed something and I was really pressed, like, Dad, you know, like my mortgage payment, I messed up. I spent my money on the wrong things. And he'd be like, well, I'm your last resort. I don't know what you're going to do. You know, and so he taught us to fend for ourselves. And that was that thing that nobody could really take from us. So when I found myself out of work and trying to figure it out all over again at 50, because I started this business at 50.
Still don't believe you.
Yeah. So that was 6 years ago. I'm heading towards 57 right now. Yeah, so I'm closer. I'm closer to 60.
It's this miracle. There's a reason it's called Miracle Buttercream. There's a reason it's called Miracle Buttercream.
Like she's 21.
Oh
like she about to break it down. Lisa and Cold Jam, and she talking about she knocking on the door at 60.
60. That is unbelievable.
Knocking.
Okay.
Right.
So at 50 years old, you start Miracle Buttercream. Right.
And here's where Miracle Buttercream was really born. When I couldn't get a job and I was going from this to that, I decided to start working in an element that made me happy, but it was different money that I was used to making. I was actually teaching culinary in a basement kitchen in Harlem for Harlem Children's Zone. And literally, I walked into the world of service. I was serving kids that were underprivileged. They were disadvantaged. They grew up in the city. Their parents had all kinds of, just issues.
Yeah,
okay.
In the hood. You're
life.
In the hood.
I'm in the hood, right?
Yeah.
And so it was those kids that, and they didn't really know how down I was. When I walked in, they looked at me crooked, like, who she thinks she is? She gonna come in here and tell us something. And I mean, by the time I left that school, I used to have those kids clawing on me, and I'd be like, okay, Avante, get back, okay? You're not supposed to hug me that long.
Yeah.
But this was the same kid that was like cursing me out. So I let them know, I was raised by a dude from the hood, okay? Butch Lewis was from the hood, and he didn't let you forget it.
Right.
And so I loved them for real, and they felt it. Kids can feel when you care about them and you don't.
Yeah.
So instead of teaching them a culinary lesson that one particular week, I decided I'm going to show you how to make something for this eczema that's tearing y'all skin up, that's messed, for psoriasis, rosacea. They had everything you can think of was plaguing their skin.
Right.
And so I used to, when I didn't have the money, I was concocting my own specialty ingredients for my own beauty products. So now here I am sharing that with my class, and instead of a culinary lesson, and then they come back from Christmas break with smooth, clear skin, eczema gone, psoriasis gone.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up. So you mean to tell me, because we're going to rewind a lot here
to
make sure people get the message, because there is a message. So you're born into the Lewis family, right? You're handling your dad's estate, but it's time you walk away from TV. You're away from TV because you're handling the estate.
Yes.
And now you're being forced to find yourself, right? And you find it, and you are starting to find yourself at the age of 50.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're finding yourself outside of the state into another state, and
yeah.
In Harlem, city in Harlem, where there's kids, and you're there now being hired as a for culinary. Not TV.
Not TV. I was actually there. We were producing a food show.
Okay.
So I was there to teach them how to cook healthy.
Yeah.
In that after school program, and then we filmed it and we edited it too. We did like about 25 episodes while I was there. We even did a cookbook. I always go above and beyond what they hired me to do. Because they saw the cookbook, they said, whoa, where'd this come from? Oh, well, they're going to want these recipes, so we put it in a cookbook. So I always went all out because I love those kids. And then that's when they said, Miss Sita, you need to turn this cream into a business.
And what did you think when they said that?
I said, no way. I don't know anything about retail. I almost got nervous at that point. But they now turned around and encouraged me
Same
to do something that was out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did it. We started going from little market to market. They were with me. They call me to this day, and so now they're in their 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
Life starts to move by.
Yeah.
And this business has become a very viable business.
Lucrative business. And that is a common theme that we've seen on today's show, right?
Right.
Service transitioning into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Right? And you were there cooking for the kids. Now you're cooking up the world's most luxurious, all natural skin moisturizer.
That's right.
Because you don't use some of the other methods that we might see in some of these other creams. Explain to them why it's such a miracle.
Because most of these beauty products, the beauty industry is one of the most lucrative, biggest business, multi-billion-dollar businesses in this country. But they're watering it down with every chemical you can think of. It has to be sustainable for the shelves because it has to have a shelf life to go to Walmart, to go to Target, to go all over Neiman Marcus, Macy's, Bloomingdale's, you name it. So they have to put the chemicals into it. So then people who want, and we're living in a society right now where people want to go back to nature because they know that's what's really good for you. They're tired of being plagued with cancer and all these things that are killing them before their time. So I am a real product snob when it comes to, just like my food. This one is, let me see if it's this one. When it comes to,
I love the packaging.
Thank you.
That's the old mason jar packaging from back in the day.
Yeah, and I listened to my customers. Like this was able to be sustainable. I could ship it to people, and if it starts to melt because it is all natural and pure, it's not going to escape out of this.
Where we at? I want to see some.
Yeah.
I
used mine this morning, by the way.
Did?
I did. So Mrs. Sita Lewis was a part of our fireside chat at the True Access Capital annual meeting. She shared some great insights for the entrepreneurs that were there. I purchased one at that event. Her husband told me once I shaved my head, I could use it. And I've been using it every day now. You see this glow out here.
You right? Glowing.
Thank
you got
you.
The glow up.
That's that miracle buttercream glow right there.
But you better see miracle butter.
I did. I need that. So that is that glow. And so I did mention to you earlier, even last night, my wife's back was itching out of nowhere. Wasn't sure what it was. And I'm scratching her back, and I said, you know what? Let me put some of this cream on it, and I promise you stop. And you guys know me. I don't say things just to say it. Yeah, it's like
now it doesn't come in flavors.
It comes in, and I love when people say flavors because when you smell them, you almost want to eat it. Like it's so good, but I don't recommend that. It's so natural. You can pretty much.
Used to be a cook. This thing
it's so natural. Yeah.
It smells good.
So that one is called Moroccan Sun. That's one of our top sellers. It's got hints of vanilla, pistachio, amber. It's soft, and like you said, it's for men or women. So children, babies. It's gentle enough, and I don't just do. The body butter.
Right.
The body butter is the signature product that got me started. But I have deodorant, lip balm.
Do you?
I need that
lip
balm.
I have so many. I have soaps now, and we make everything by hand. Everything.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
Do you?
So
I'm sorry. I'm over here.
And fine. And why you do that? Because if I don't mention this, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Okay.
By your bestie, right? So we need to talk because on the topic of entrepreneurship, right? And we've talked about this great miracle buttercream and how you've done it all natural. You don't add the water and there's no alcohol and everything else, right?
Right.
But for these entrepreneurs out here,
Yes.
let's really quick talk numbers. Because you talked about starting this at 50 years old, about to foreclose in your home.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you're doing numbers-wise,
So
2023.
when you're an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
Say it again.
Okay. It is for people who are willing to make the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
It is for people who are willing to put it all out on the line. Because when you don't have money, you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be resourceful.
Right.
I was renting out my house, half of my house, to be able to quit my job to do this full time. So I had part of my house as an Airbnb just to be able to stay in my home. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I had good credit.
Mm-hmm.
I might not have had money, but I had good credit. So I was able to loan myself money because it takes money to make money.
Right.
So I was able to loan myself money. When I say loan myself, you have to do it as a transaction.
Right.
You have to give yourself the money in a check, in the form of a check, loan to Mama Sita's Incorporated. That's the parent company of my business, right? Yeah. And then 3 years later, I was able to pay Sita back. Now the company is sustaining itself. Right. Okay. And it's more than sustaining itself. We're now on $1 million run rate.
We good.
That's
what she's saying.
It is.
Bottom line, we good.
You don't have to Airbnb no more.
No.
Put it this way: if you're averaging 1,000 orders a month, which we are, then and the average order is $100 an order.
Talk to him.
That's $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, in sales, of course, your expenditures go up. Okay, but then when you come to the end of the year and you minus your expenditures, you see, okay, I have 6 people on my staff now. I have so I'm still investing in the business.
Understood.
6 years later, I'm still putting into the business. But now I'm getting to the point where, people like Denzel Washington are hitting me up saying, hold up, wait a minute. I saw you was auditioning on Shark Tank. Now I want a piece of that.
Right.
Because he was someone who supported me in the beginning. Now he didn't say, here's money.
Right.
He was one of my dad's friends and he used to check on me. You good? You good? You good? And he heard that I needed a cold press machine.
Right.
So he said, I'm not going to give you some fish. I'm going to teach you how to fish.
Right.
I'm going to give you that machine that you want to take the volume of your business up another notch. So that was 3 years in. Sometimes if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
So you have to show people how serious you are.
Right.
And then they want to say, okay, here.
Yeah. They're not just going to give you, here go $100,000. They want to see what you can do.
He gave me a $26,000 machine that turned out to be at least turn over $2 million worth of products.
Talk to him.
So far.
How hard has it been for you to go from working in the business to now working on the business? Because what I'm seeing so far, there's a lot of people that might have a great idea, but the transition into entrepreneurship or the business person and understanding the numbers and understanding how to manage the staff may be too much for them. Was it hard for you?
For me, I had to do that in stages. I had to really say, okay, I can't make this butter forever, or I'm going to stay a small business.
Right.
I have to bring people in and turn them into little mini Citas. So I have to find somebody who can make miracle buttercream just like I make it. Yeah. And trust me, when I brought those people in, I didn't turn them loose for like at least 6 months. I wanted to see them do what I do for 6 months. And then I'm able to step in my office and start doing things that are going to being able to come here and interview with you while I have 100 orders in my inbox and they are processing them right now while I'm in a different state.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to let go of that control so that you can do things that are going to build the business.
No, I got you.
And that's everything from learning, okay, where do I get my boxes from? Well, they cost 30 cents here, but over here they cost 20 cents. I'm always still going to be looking for the best deals so that my bottom line is going to come out in my favor.
What's that called? Due diligence, right?
Yes.
Do your diligence and drink water.
And drink water.
So, and don't add the water to your buttercream. So
This stuff's good. You see my hands?
no,
Yeah.
it smells amazing over here, by the way. You mentioned earlier when you were talking, you said you always go above and beyond.
Yes.
Right? So obviously you set a standard for yourself. Please talk to these entrepreneurs out here
Right.
and explain to them the importance of not just
I
being
was
enough.
raised by the best entrepreneur that was ever born. Okay. When I tell you, my father did not have a college degree. He wasn't raised by his father. He was raised by his grandmother, who I was named after. But he taught me that the work ethic is the most important thing to being able to create and sustain and build a business. Mm-hmm. He taught us how to wake up and work overtime. He was always the first one in the door and the last one to go home. And when I used to work for him, I would come to work and we were supposed to be there at 9:00 in the morning. So if I got there at 9:00 in the morning, he would tell me that I was late. And I mean, he wouldn't say it in a nice way. He would say it like, "You're late." And I got a problem with that. And I said, "Well, what do you mean? The end time is 9:00.
Right.
And he said, "Well, you didn't leave no room for error here." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, how do you know? I might have left my house at 5:00 in the morning to get here." And we're talking about New York traffic and all that. He didn't care. You should be able to get to work by at least 8:30 to get yourself set up and get things in order before it's time to work. So just those little small things, because he literally became an entrepreneur. Like, he met Joe Frazier and then became friends with Joe Frazier. And that was probably in 74, maybe. Right. And then by 78, he was co-promoting the Thriller in Manila. Who does that in their 30s? I haven't achieved what he achieved to date in my 30s. Yeah. So I had somebody who taught me the words were prepare for war in times of peace. Right now, I get 1,000 orders a month, but I got 3,000 orders on my shelf, okay? Because if I come on this show and I get a whole lot of orders that come in or whatever it is, be ready. Be ready. There it is. Because when something hits, you got it. So my staff will say, "Well, we got 500 jars of Miracle Buttercream. We're good." Oh, don't tell me when we're good. I tell you when we're good. Keep making it. Yeah. Keep making it. I say, this is like Noah's Ark right here. Yeah. And really the reason why it's called Miracle Buttercream is because my life is nothing short of a miracle. And only God creates miracles. Yeah. That's the only place where miracles come from. It means that it doesn't make any sense. Right. It doesn't make any sense that I was able to put together my own personal concoction, put it in a jar, and a few years later, I'm able to not just pay my bills, but help my family pay their bills.
And help other families.
And that's not the end of it.
Yeah, we're just starting. Good.
We're just starting because my father built a legacy that's going to leave generational wealth. Right. Now, if people have lost money left and right throughout their whole life, but what they can't lose is what's put in you to make that money in the first place. Right. So all that goes back to my true, honest faith in God, because I can legitimately tell you that God is a provider because I'm proof that he provided for me.
There you go. And someone, again, not at any age, right? Because Sita and I, Mama Sita and I talked outside before we got on the show. And one of the questions I asked her is, what do you want people to take away? And she's like, there's never too late. It's never too late. You can do it right now. And that never too late means I found myself at 35, right? Thinking the life was over and didn't know what to do. And people like right now, 40, 50, 60, 80 years old, going back to school, getting their degree, going back to school, want to start a business. Right. And you
work with what you have. Yeah. Okay. And I had my house and it was on the brink of being gone. Mm-hmm. But honey, I fixed it up so nice and put it on Airbnb. It didn't even have a kitchen in the space that I was renting. And I rented that for 8 years for $2,000 a month. So that was paying almost
So you
my
was
whole
good.
mortgage.
Right. No.
While I was able to leave the job and
Genius.
focus on Miracle Buttercream.
Love it.
You know, you got to think of things that can put you. Robert Townsend once told me, and he's a good friend of mine too, the producer and filmmaker Robert Townsend.
Yeah.
He said your passion is that thing you do at night that you ain't getting paid for. You know, and then you just keep doing whatever you can do to finance that dream. When he did I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, he said he financed that whole movie on a credit card.
I heard.
On a credit card.
Yeah. One of my biggest inspirations, Robert Townsend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
He's awesome.
All right. Miracle Buttercream. Mama Sita's. Where can they purchase it?
MiracleButtercream.com.
All right. This is dope. My hands, I'm over here glowing, y'all.
You're going to be an addict, okay? Once you start it, all of my customers are repeat customers for 6 years. They don't go away.
Okay, we're going to try it.
They just keep coming back.
We're going to try it, Mama Sita.
He's going to come back trying to glow like
hair,
me.
Face, skin, feet, head to toe.
Head to toe. I'm willing to try it. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Absolutely.
That's your camera right there. 10 seconds. Go ahead.
Miracle Buttercream is what you want if you want to see that youthful, beautiful skincare glow. And it's all natural.
That's it. All right. Thank you so much for coming, Mama Sita.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime
y'all call me, I'm getting on the highway.
All right, cool.
We
We're going to hold you to that, too.
And
All right.
this is your
Another
butter.
great show.
Which one's ours?
That one's yours.
This one's mine?
You've got Meshach's.
Is that? No, that can't. How you been rubbing your fingers all in my butter?
Oh
my goodness.
And he wanted the grapefruit lemonade.
Yes.
So that's
It's cool.
y'all can switch.
Yes, we are, because I'm not taking that one. But once again, we appreciate you tuning in. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us right here in the plaza. Good Morning Wilmington. Thank you again, Mrs. Sita Lewis. Thank you for Joe Wu that came into the building. And all of you for spending your time with me and Big Ive.
There you go.
Till the next time we see you, be safe out there.
All right.
Peace.
Yes, indeed.
Miracle Butter.
Give me mine.